Hey everyone, welcome. We're jumping right into a really intense legal fight that's unfolding.
Yeah, it's got some serious stakes. We're talking about defense lawyers going all out to stop federal prosecutors from even pursuing the death penalty against their client.
Right, and that client is Luigi Mangione, so what's the situation? Well, he's got state murder and terrorism charges in New York already. That's serious enough.
But the federal angle is where this particular fight is happening. Federal murder and stalking charges linked to the death of Brian Thompson.
The CEO of United Healthcare, so a very high-profile victim, which always adds another layer, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And you have this dual track, state charges in New York, where crucially the death penalty isn't on the table.
Okay, yeah, that's important. New York doesn't have it.
But then the feds step in, and suddenly capital punishment is a very real possibility, or at least the prosecution wants it to be.
Which brings us to the core argument from Mangione's lawyers. They filed this motion, and they're not mincing words. They're calling the attempt to seek the death penalty well, a political stunt.
That's pretty direct language for a court filing. I mean, it's a strong accusation.
It really is. They're basically saying this isn't about the facts of the case, not entirely anyway.
So what are they saying it's about then?
Politics. They're pointing fingers, specifically claiming that Attorney General Pam Bondi ordered prosecutors to go for the death penalty.
And the alleged reason.
To push President Trump's agenda on crime. You know, the whole make America safe again, focus on public safety and being tough on violent crime.
Wow. So they're drawing a direct line from a specific law enforcement policy push to this specific prosecutorial decision in a capital case.
Exactly. They laid this all out in a formal motion filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. It's not just talk, it's a legal strategy.
It raises some fundamental questions, doesn't it? About, the motivations behind such a significant decision as seeking the death penalty. Is it purely legal reasoning or...
Or are other factors creeping in, especially when a case gets this much attention? That seems to be what the defense wants the court to consider.
Okay, so where does Mangione stand legally right now? Has he entered pleas?
Good question. On the state side, those 11 charges in New York, he's pleaded not guilty. And like we said, no death penalty risk there.
Right.
But federally, things are earlier in the process. He hasn't actually been arraigned on the federal murder and stalking charges yet.
So this defense motion is preemptive then. They're trying to block the death penalty before it's even formally sought after arraignment.
That's exactly it. They're getting out ahead, arguing the very consideration of seeking it is improper, tainted by, well, political motives.
That's quite a tactic, trying to shut down that possibility right from the start based on alleged political influence from the AG and the president.
So just to sort of wrap up the current situation, Mangione's facing charges in two systems, state and federal, connected to the death of this prominent CEO.
Big case, lots of eyes on it.
And the immediate battleground is this defense effort to disqualify the death penalty option on the federal side, framing it as politically driven.
Yeah, labeling it that political stunt linked directly to the administration's public safety platform.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? When you have these high-profile cases, the law is happening, but there are all these other potential currents running underneath.
Politics, public perception, policy agendas. They can all get tangled up in the legal process.
Definitely. So maybe something for listeners to chew on. In cases like this, how much should political considerations factor into decisions like pursuing the ultimate penalty? Is it ever fully separable?
That's the big question, isn't it? Where does law end and politics begin, especially when the stakes are literally life and death? This Mangione case is certainly putting a spotlight right on that intersection.